welcome back to my channel. My name is LK and today I'm going to share with you 4 DIY Dollar Tree projects that have a mid-century spin to them. I've seen a lot of these videos in the past which are so inspiring and amazing, but a lot of them lean like farmhouse or boho, and I really wanted to create something that fits in my vibe of what I'm going for, which is like a happy medium between coastal and mid-century. And so I wanted to challenge myself by finding like the most basic items at the Dollar Tree and mixing it in with something else that I own to try to come up with something that looks expensive and chic and something that you would have found at like a flea market or a thrift store. That was kind of the vibe that I was going for. So before I do too much talking, let's jump into project number 1. So this first project is easy for any home decor style. You can grab one of these garden dishes at the Dollar Tree, and then I held onto this wooden ribbon spool and I thought that they would make an interesting pedestal bowl together. To give it that mid-century interest, I wanted to paint the inside with this color sample I got, and I thought that this paint had a really interesting mid-century quality because it's yellowish green. And so I just wanted to paint the inside so that the outside would look like a colored glass. And if you did get up close to look on the inside, that there would be some kind of texture and it would look a little bit more organic. And I feel like that's kind of me trying to merge the two worlds of coastal and mid-century in this project specifically. So I'm just saturating this bowl with a ton of paint and then using my brush to create some texture that looks a little bit more uniform and clean. Once you let this dry, I just used some E6000 glue and glued the spool to the bottom of the bowl, and it created this really pretty mid-century inspired pedestal bowl. So the second project actually includes 2 candle pieces, these ones from the Dollar Tree and these ones from IKEA. So I thought, what if I painted these clear votives with some wood stain to make them look like amber glass to give them a little bit more dimension? So I thought that would be the perfect pedestal for these green votives. So I guess I'm using 2 votives to make 1 chic votive. So I just saturated them entirely and then I put them under the heat gun to help it create a more permanent color. So once the stain is dry from the heat gun on the little votives, I added this brown watercolor paint because honestly I just don't have any brown acrylic paint, and I started dabbing to create this more tortoiseshell look on the glass. And I didn't wait for those to dry. I just took them outside immediately and covered them with this Rust-Oleum clear gloss spray, and that completely sealed the entire thing. And so once those are dry, you can just take a glue gun around the edge of it very lightly because you don't want it to seep out, and put it center on the bottom of the green votive, and then flip it around and you have this elevated statement votive that you can put on your dining room table. So I think our third project is my absolute favorite. It uses so many Dollar Tree items. It uses these little craft circles as well as some Mod Podge that's also from the Dollar Tree. And then I also have in my stash this stain pen as well as some early American stain and these mitering shears that I showed you in my dresser video, as well as this piece of wood that I got from a thrift store. It originally had a photo of a kayak on it. And I've also really been liking this half circle design that's very quintessential mid-century. And I thought, we're always drinking coffee and need something to put the hot glass on. And I thought, what if I turn this into a trivet? So the first thing that you're gonna do is follow the grain and cut these circles in half. And then I took the semicircles and rubbed the cut edge on some 180 grit sandpaper so that it would look really smooth. And I'm personally going to copy this design, but first I did a dry fit to see what would actually be fitting on this piece of wood. And luckily it does fit all 5 rows, but the 6th row on the top, I had to come up with my own design. So I just played around with that until I feel like it gave me the right negative space, as I think that that's kind of the point of this design, is to elevate the negative space. And then in order to save time and be less messy, I put down this piece of waxy paper and I dumped all the semicircles in a little bowl that I got from the Dollar Tree and just mixed it around with some stain and then flicked it out and let them dry. I felt like this was a lot easier than having to stain every piece individually. Once they're dry, you'll see that every semicircle kind of has a little bit of a different stain color, but for the most part, it looks very neutral. And I wanted to add some depth to this, so I'm taking my stain marker and coloring in some of the pieces so that some pieces on here will be light and some pieces will be dark. And I'm just matching attaching it to the piece of wood and also pairing up the semicircles to make sure that it all looks cohesive. Not every piece is exactly 50-50 cut down the middle. This is where you can use your creativity and your own design sense to make a visually interesting design. Once you've decided on your design and your pieces, you can take some Mod Podge, and I just used a paintbrush that I also got from the Dollar Tree and painted the back of these so there wasn't large clumps of glue coming out. And then I also used a dry paintbrush to wipe up any of that excess glue that came out, because we don't want any remnants of glue to be visible for this to actually look like a high-end piece. This is such a therapeutic and fun process. I absolutely loved putting these little circles on here and deciding which color goes where. I highly recommend you try out this project. Truly, there was no rhyme or reason as to where I was putting the semicircles. I just kind of was going as I felt. And then I also found these little wood stump pieces from the Dollar Tree that I thought would be great as feet. I think it gives it that more organic feel. And if you can't tell already, I'm trying to mix the organic coastal vibe with the mid-century modern vibe. And so I feel like the feet here really act as that coastal organic piece. And so you just add a little bit of glue under each foot and wait for those to dry. And once it's dry, I put on this polyurethane by Minwax that's like oil and water, and it's specifically made for warm woods. I also took a sponge brush to kind of dab up some of the bigger clumps that were sitting in between all the grooves of the little wood pieces, because I didn't want it to dry as like a clump of polyurethane. And once that's dried after a few hours, you have this beautiful mid-century modern inspired wooden trivet. This fourth project is so simple and so rewarding. I just took these little thin coaster pieces that I got from the Dollar Tree, as well as some Mod Podge, paintbrushes, and these little cork pieces that I think are coasters. And because the pieces of wood are so thin, I'm actually going to glue them together to make a more substantial square so that we can actually have a little coaster. And I'm going to give it like my mid-century coastal inspiration as well. So you need to let these things dry under something heavy for about 30 minutes. Otherwise, the glue will kind of make them bow and there'll be a big gap between them. So once that's finally complete, you can grab 4 of your favorite colors. I'm choosing these ones that I got from Sherwin-Williams. And then I thought I would add this wood contact paper that I also got from the Dollar Tree. So I'm just placing them all on the contact paper to see how much I need. And I'm just cutting out the contact paper, making sure that it fits. And then I think I'm going to cover about 1/3 of the coaster with this wood, and then I will paint the rest of it. The first color I'm using is this Livable Green by Sherwin-Williams, and it felt really coastal but also neutral. And I don't want to go too coastal, like too blue. And I felt like this one really fit in with my vibe. I absolutely love this warm white color, and I'm usually not a fan of warm whites, but I think I might paint my living room with this color. I'm also obsessed with this deep blue color. It feels very mid-century, and this independent gold actually reads a little bit more greenish in person. So once you've let the paint dry for about 20 minutes, you can put on your squares of contact paper here, and you just want to start by putting it on the top third part. And then you want to cut in alongside the top so that you have 2 little wings on the side and 1 large wing on top. You can use scissors or an X-Acto knife. And once you fold over these wings, you can fold over the big top piece and make sure that it's very tight and secure. And you don't have to worry about the other part of the coaster that you didn't really paint, because we're going to add this cork on the back. And I'm just using Gorilla Glue hot glue here. And make sure you put a generous amount of hot glue just to make sure that the 2 pieces adhere together. So I'm just going to do this in the same way on each coaster here. Once you're done, you can cover them in a coat of clear water-based polyurethane, like the one that I used in my Trevor Team bar top video. And that will seal them, so if you put a wet glass on them, it won't seep through the wood or ruin the contact paper. But other than that, now you have 4 coastal mid-century inspired coasters. inspired by these, and I hope you do too. Sometimes it's hard to go out there and find what you're looking for, especially if your style is somewhere between two trends or the things that you like are not really on trend right now. So I think it's really sustainable and creative to go to the Dollar Tree and find some things that are affordable and match those up with some of the things that you already own that you know you love to create something really unique that fits into your personal style and doesn't break the bank. So I challenge you to make some sustainable and creative home decor instead of trying to fit into what is available to you in store. If you liked this project, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to do more videos like this. Other than that, thank you so much for spending your time with me. I really hope you feel creative and inspired, and I'll see you next week. Bye.